It's time for Geocache Talk. Whether you are at work, in the car, or wherever you are, we hope you enjoy this show about the great sport of geocaching. If you're watching live on YouTube, you can be part of the adventure tonight in the chat room and participate with others as they watch the show. If you are listening later, please give it a like and subscribe on your favorite podcasting app so that you can get all of the weekly Geocache Talk goodness. If you have not become a patron of the Geocache Talk Network, what are you waiting for? Patron levels start as low as a Bison Tube level at $3 a month. To sign up is easy. Simply go to the Geocache Talk website and click on the Become a Patron button, or go to patreon.com/Geocache Talk. Patrons now get the famous Blackout coin, invites to special events, and other really great items throughout the year. Become a patron today. Have you subscribed to FTF Magazine yet? FTF Magazine is the #1 geocaching magazine available. It is a quarterly magazine that you can be part of. Submit your geocaching milestones and adventures to be published. FTF Magazine is also interactive with puzzles to solve and the hunt to find Spartacus. If you can solve the puzzle or find Spartacus, then you will be entered in to win a special pack tag. Every new subscription, you will receive a special swag pack. Subscribing is easy. Just visit FTF's website, ftfgeo.com. Don't miss out and subscribe today.
Big thanks to Baker Six Clan, Derek of Baker Six Clan, for our opening, and our featured patrons, and our new patrons, Wendland Bunch, Jaspery, Hockey Mom 92, and Anonymous. And I'm working on those featured patrons right now. I completely forgot about them. So we're going to vamp for a little bit. I'm going to mention the featured patrons. So let's jump right into show 260. As we welcome back to the show, Nic Hubbard. Nic, welcome back.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
So Nic for president.
Yeah, I saw that too. That's kind of funny.
That's one of my beta testers. So
yeah,
he's partial too.
He's partial. That's right. Thank you so much for being available to come back and talk about Cashfest 7.0. So
yeah,
that's gonna be fun tonight. We got a couple news items. So Derek, I don't think we need is it breaking news? I think it's kind of breaking news.
They don't think it's breaking. Well, no, it could be, because maybe some people haven't
known
that, don't know. So let's go ahead and
let's do breaking.
If I can find it, because they've rearranged our stuff over here.
They did rearrange it.
All right, so we're here we go. Let's, because some people might not have heard about it. So
they might not have. So Sunday, we announced that we were bringing a event. We called it a huge event at the time, Worldwide Cashfest, and there's the logo for it for those that are watching. And we'll just share it for we'll share the audio theater for those that are just audio. But we showed the signal playing the bass guitar, and the background is Memphis, because it's going to be.
I don't know if it's a bass guitar, if it's just a regular guitar. It's modeled after Lucille.
It is.
BB King's guitar,
King.
famous guitar. So
yeah. But we announced it last Sunday, and
at this time,
and not even 72 hours later, it went mega. And so to be mega, you have to have 300 will attends, and then you have to apply.
Right.
To HQ, and we were approved, and we got that done.
Wednesday at 4:00, it went mega. The official icon changed.
Yep. 60. So pretty awesome. Thank you so much to everybody who's wanting to come.
Oh yeah.
To this event. Hopefully we'll be able to pull off this event next July 16th. Hopefully that everything will be.
Yeah, I think it'll be okay. I mean,
we're quite a ways out.
We're a year out. I mean, I know we said that 2 years ago, but
yeah, we did. But I think we'll be okay.
I think we'll be fine.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna jump into something else, but I want to mention our featured patrons tonight is Skippy Teddy 83 and Casper Fly, Retired Guy, Firefly 8317, Team Murky, 1940 Chevy, Joyful Nomad, Go Be Geocachers, Crime Fighter 89, Damac 04, and OLB 1992. Thank you, patrons. Thank you so much for keeping this boat afloat, this train running down the road, train running down the rails, however you want.
Down the track.
Down the track.
Yep. We don't need that train to derailing, so we got to keep them on the track.
That's right. So again, thank you so much. It runs because of patrons. I mean, that's
right.
The way it goes. That's the only way it can run. So, all right. Next quick item is the promotion that HQ is doing right now, called peak. What's it called?
I can never say the mountains. It's where you have to get to the different peaks of the different ones.
Yeah.
And that ends September 5th is when it resets.
Yeah, it resets. Reach the peak.
Reach the peak. Yeah.
Reach the peak.
What's what you're trying to get to Mount Pikachuku or whatever, however you say it.
Yeah. This current one is Puncak Jaya.
See, I was completely off.
Yeah, I googled that last week or 2 weeks ago, I guess. Puncak. So
I'm almost got it. I almost made the summit. It's one we've been working on our other project, and it's been hard to get out with a lot of other projects I've had going on and family in and out of town. But I'm really close.
I made it to the peak. I don't know if I'll make all of them because my geocaching comes in waves.
Comes in waves. Yep.
It does. But the other ones are listed. There's a link if you want to check it out. We have a link in the show notes to the blog post for that. So check out that in the show notes. You can always go check out any show notes. Go to the website, and there's a link to that. So
right.
Oh, somebody's still at base camp. That's okay. That's understandable.
Hey, geocache. That's one thing I love about geocaching. You cache the way you want to cache.
That's right.
So there's times that I'm working on building caches that I end up giving away to other people, so then I don't have to maintain them sometimes, but they'll enjoy them and I can go find them. And then I get out there and cache when I can. I like caching with other people, so a lot of times if I can't get other people to go cache with me, it's more fun with other people for me. So
I agree. Me too.
Yeah.
All right, let's jump in. We got a lot to talk about tonight.
Oh yeah,
a lot to cover. And again, we tend to mention at the beginning because it's going to come up and it's okay. People in the chat room at this point understand Cashly is an iOS application.
Yes.
If you want to mention that it's, we always talk about it. It's not for the Android. We understand. We love our Android users. But it's not for the Android. Probably never will be. But
very true.
Yeah. But something I always mention, and I really believe this, and this is that even if you're not an iOS user, the things we talk about tonight, some of it can actually translate over to other applications. So,
sure.
So there might not be, there may be some one-to-one corresponding items, but it is what it is. And so but there are times when I think you might, if you're an Android user, you might go, I wonder if my app has that. If it doesn't, you can always, send a note to the people that make yours, or anyway. So,
and as we're going through tonight, I have my phone out and I have it out ready, got Cashly on it, up and ready to go. So as we're going through features, you see me looking down.
Yep.
I'm going to be checking out the features as well. And so I encourage everybody to go ahead and break your phone out if you're a Cashly user. Yep. And if you're not, break it out anyways and see what you're missing. Exactly. I'm just going to just put it that way. So, but really happy to have you on, Nick, and to support you with everything that you do. I love this app. So
thank you.
I'm so excited to learn more about what it's doing.
So let's talk a little bit about, in a general sense, first about 7.0. This this was a big, we talked before where you have different levels of the app. 7.0 being, it went from 6 to 7. So, what did you, what was it like kind of getting up to 7.0? I mean, what was the road up to that mountain this time around to get you to 7?
I think we were at 6.1. I don't know, 12 or something like that.
Right.
And I always have like a tactical speak. I have like a development branch for like, a bigger version with lots of new features, and then a bug fix branch to, correct bugs and then push out, not release those new features, but fix some bugs. So in the feature branch, I just was continuing to work on a lot of new features. And at one point I realized it was not a 6.2 update. It was going to be a 7.0 because there was just too many large features that, had been requested and that I built in, and it was time to make a whole, major version upgrade.
Right.
So I think it started in January. So that was when I think I first started, and it, it took quite a while. Right. So that was the evolution.
Yeah. Really cool. Amazing that we're this far, 7.0, I remember the early days, and I always tell the story, about how, we had Nic on back when I was on, even another show back on Cache and Release. We talked about the app. So it's been great.
I think it was January 2016.
Yeah.
If I remember right.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, I think so. We were at 1 point something probably at that point.
Probably just 1.0.
Yeah,
probably didn't even have any like bug fixes out.
Did you ever?
I released it in December of 2015, so it was just like 1 month. I don't even know how you guys found me at that time.
Yeah, you were like, "Who are these guys, and why did they?"
No. I was happy. I had never been on a podcast before. I was sweating, I think, during the podcast because I was very nervous. Yeah.
And look where we've come to. That's awesome.
No, you got your microphone now and everything else.
No, look at me. It looks like a regular podcast.
Yeah, I needed to get something better than just like my IMAX microphone.
Yeah. We have some Australia with some Aussies. We always love having our Aussies on. A couple are on, and they mentioned about offline maps are fantastic.
Yeah.
Yes, they are.
Yes.
Is Australia broken out sort of like the US? Can you get the different provinces of Australia?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
That's neat.
Or you can just download the whole thing. So
right, or download all of Australia, which is enormous. So Kitty Catch, another one it's Monday over there. So, but thank you, Aussies, for being on with us. We love you guys, and means a lot to us.
Makes us an international show.
It really
live.
Is. And offline maps is tremendous. We're going to talk about some other things tonight too. But I wanted to bring that up because I saw that in the chat room. So, I guess let's start with, and there's links in the show notes too. I want to encourage people to go to the show notes and take a look.
There's a lot of features.
There's a lot.
There is.
And I really like, and I appreciate, Nic, that you put together, the notes for these things, for everybody. I mean, use that medium.com website and you post wonderful notes. I mean, it's really helpful that you have all the features there. So 7.0 released on August 3rd.
Yes.
If that was correct. Yes.
I think so.
Yeah.
I don't actually remember.
We've all slept since then. In the notes, the first thing that pops up is the dark mode with the dark maps. And so let's talk a little bit about that. What, I know you like to, when possible, you like to try to incorporate things that Apple provides. Is that a way to put that?
Yeah.
Okay. So how is it putting the maps into a dark mode? I like that feature, by the way.
Yeah. So, I mean, it was maps. It was the whole interface. And if I'm remembering right, dark mode was introduced, I think, in iOS 12. So it's taken a couple years for me to finally get this going. And I had lots of requests and 1 or 2 beta testers that kept on saying, please, please, please. But it took checking of every single interface and, tweaking and changing and designing different things, designing styles for all the maps that would look good in dark. And so it was actually one of the last features that I worked on with 7.0. I kind of left it till the end because it required, like I said, every single interface being, kind of checked. And luckily in the iOS simulator, when I'm developing, there's just a keyboard shortcut to quickly switch back and forth between the two, so you can quickly kind of see your changes and see if things are working and looking nice. But the nice thing that if somebody has their phone in dark mode, but they don't prefer Cashly to be in dark mode, there's some settings for overriding the iOS, like forcing you to be in dark mode. So you can use Cashly in light mode and the rest of your phone in dark mode if you choose. Or if you just want light maps and don't like the dark maps, you can also do that as well. So I tried to add some options in there for somebody who was a little shocked by dark mode and they didn't want it. But after developing it and working in it, I actually almost prefer it better than the previous light mode. I really like using it in dark mode.
I do too. It looks really cool. I mean, I'm gonna throw up this screen real quick. So here's what the light mode was before.
Yep.
And it's still, I love the interface of that as well. But then you just have this dark mode, and it just, to me, it looks a lot better and a lot easier on my eyes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
And there's users that flip back and forth just using that setting that I have. You can just pop it and it will switch back. So pretty easy.
Yeah. It's awesome. Yeah. See, that's one thing too. I think most people know, and that is pretty much anything we talk about, which is wonderful, Nick, that you have, is that you can go into the settings and there's different places for it, but you can go to the different settings and you can change whatever. If you don't want it to flip, which I loved back in the day when I didn't have
lots of things,
you can turn that off. I mean, it's really great. So,
and now you can search settings, which is one of the new 7.0 things. If there's some setting that you don't know about, there's a search box there, and you can just kind of search whatever you want, and it will bring up the results for settings.
And that's different than the search filter options that we'll be getting to here shortly, correct?
Yeah. This is just for settings because previously there was just like one big settings screen, and things weren't broken up. And also there was things deep in settings that users were like, oh, I didn't even realize it was there. So now they can just kind of search. There's also like keyword searching. So they can maybe search for travel bugs and it will show trackables. So there's a lot of different like search terms that you might not think of, and it will show up other results. Yeah.
Oh man, that's awesome.
Yeah, that is really cool.
So next one I wanted to talk about was live search filtering templates.
Yes.
So you can save a set of live filter options as a template. Yeah.
And I can't remember, it wasn't you, Gary, that was talking about really wanting this, was it? But somebody on a podcast was saying, oh, we really need this. And I had other users wanting it as well. Because either it was turning off your filters and getting all caches, or they had to clear the filters and reset them and then choose some new options. And they couldn't ever save some of like their favorite options that they've configured. And there's a lot of options. So if you've typed in a username and you've done a bunch of different cache types and different things like that, you'd have to clear them and lose all that. So now you can actually save your favorite ones. And one of the little features that I don't think we've advertised really is if you long press either on the filter button or on the little green label that says like filtering on, it will actually pop up the templates. And so you can do kind of a quickly change templates if you're on the live screen.
Well, that's good to know.
Yeah.
I mean, see, that's why we're doing this tonight, because there's some things that we don't think about, and that's just, I love that you're sharing this information. I know it's probably on here somewhere on what's it called? It's the medium.com, but it's still
it's probably buried deep on there. It's
right.
kind of a little Easter egg.
Something else that I love of late, and this is, I don't know, last couple versions, whatever, and that is the yeah, I like the long kitty catch.
Yeah.
And that's the thing I was going to mention is that now I like long press everything because I figure there might be something there.
There's a lot of long press options because it provides just a way to add extra options to so many places.
Yeah, that's slick. So if you ever wonder what I'm doing, I'm going through all the different options and I'm trying it. Again,
Yeah.
I'm sure my caching group would be tired of me doing that, but but hey, I've got templates. I got a lot of stuff set up. So
yeah. And templates will, if you have iCloud and iCloud Drive enabled, it will sync those if you have other devices used with Cashly. So if you create one on your iPhone, use an iPad, also it'll show up on there.
Oh, it keeps those. Oh, wow.
Yeah. Now, will that work? Say like I have it, and my wife and I both. Of course, it'll work between mine and my wife's accounts, but. Like my son that lives in Texas, he also uses Cashly through their family account. Would it sync to his too, or does it has to be in the same? Has to be the same iCloud account, doesn't it?
Has to be the same iCloud. Family sharing doesn't really come to play for this because I don't think we would want to sync your settings with somebody else's and then theirs get overwritten. So it's just for your iCloud user in this case.
Okay.
Show all waypoints. You now have the option to see all waypoints of all caches loaded for live or for offline lists.
Yeah. So previously, the only way you could see all waymarks of a cache was to navigate to that cache, and then you would see them all. But you couldn't see the waypoints of other caches around that. So now there's an option if you're on live and you are loading full data. That's one of the kind of the requirements if you're on live.
Sure.
Because waypoints don't come in unless you are on full data.
Right.
But if you have that option on, as well as show all waypoints, it will load those all on the map. And you can, if you're doing some multis, you can kind of visit a bunch of the waypoints for different caches. And it does that as well for offline lists. So if you save those waypoints, you can now see them all on the map. So
nice.
Just another feature that was user requested. So
yeah. It does help especially if you're caching in an area where you could have a concentration of information available. Like you said, you could plan a route better, knowing that you've got all these waypoints. You could go, we're going to go do this. We're going to do this part of this cache because it's right here. Why do we want to go all the way over here and then come back here?
Right.
Yeah. And that's what the feature request from users was solving, was that exact problem.
Right. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Another big one that I really like is the fact that you've got the Geocaching HQ solution checker is now built in to Cashly.
Yeah. And that's one they actually added. They added that back, I think, over a year ago to the API. And I had not gotten it added yet. So yeah, for those caches that have the HQ solution checker, you can now just natively do it, which is
That's
nice.
really
Cool.
cool.
That was requested by a lot of people. They're like, where, I see it on the website, but it's not in Cashly. So finally can solve that problem.
Yes, that is it is option. One thing I think we'll take a moment and talk about is the fact that you are a authorized developer.
Yes.
API.
API developer from HQ. Some things people don't realize, and we usually mention it because it's always good to mention, and that is a couple things. One is if it's not available to API developers, you can't add it because it's not in the API. So that's one thing. The other thing too is the fact that if it does get added to the API, you got to turn around and it's not automatic. You're working Cashly's your side business. So
side hustle.
It's your side.
Yeah, for sure. Like just the other day, somebody was saying, "Hey, I want to submit a cache that I just placed. I want to submit it from Cashly." And I was like, "Well, that has not been added to the API, and I don't know if it ever will be." And so you have to explain to people that that's not something I can just add without them creating it and them creating a way to send the data or request the data.
Yeah, that. It comes up, I think, more often because seen it comes up, which is
you can't even do it in the other app, the geocaching app. You can't even do it.
Yeah. I don't think they want that. I think they want it to be browser based because it'll just be people be dropping caches everywhere.
Yeah. No. And they'd be like, why can't I get this one published? Well, I have noticed that with so many more geocaching users now, so many of them they're still, a lot of them are still learning, and a lot of them don't understand because we're so phone based for everything. And for the most part, people on Facebook are pretty nice for the most part. Again, people who are new to caching, they're like, well, what account should I get? Should I get geocaching on my phone or geocaching on the website? Because they don't understand, because people will say, really you should be a premium member of, it's really worth the $30 a year or whatever.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, which one do I get? Do I get the one for the app, for the phone, or to the? Wait.
It covers all of it.
Same thing.
You're confusing everything here.
Yeah.
So because people are so used to the phone, they just don't think about, their computer. Which I don't know. Some people might not have a computer, but oh well.
Some people nowadays just have an iPad, no computer.
Yeah. Or I've heard that really the actual desktop computer is kind of becoming a dinosaur. Everybody has a laptop at the
Yeah.
And okay, something else cool, and I know this comes up a lot because this is a big deal for some people.
Yeah.
Not as big a deal for others, and that is trackables.
Yes.
And you've got now a way to, and Derek has a story he can tell you, of you can add you lug around all your trackables in theory, and you can
in theory.
I've seen some people's trackable cases. You don't want to lug around 45 pounds of trackables.
They don't want to lug those around fully. But you have now a trackables auto visit list. So how does that all work there?
Pretty easy. If it's off by default and there's no trackables that have been added to it, obviously. But if you want to do it, you just enable it, and then you can basically just pick and choose which ones you want to be automatically visited when you log a cache. So
cool.
Currently, if you do a found it log, attended for an event, or a webcam photo, those are the three that will trigger this. So if you're doing a DNF or a maintenance, something like that, currently Cashly does not auto visit those. And I've had a few users, and they say, I just wrote a note and it didn't auto visit it. And so I think that's the minority. I think there's not as many people wanting to do that for other log types, but possibly in the future we could add a feature where you can choose if you want to do auto visit for other log types. But currently it's just for those three.
Right. And I'm probably in the minority, but I have it visiting one trackable. That's all I want. I'm probably in the minority, but I have a trackable.
There's some people that want 50. So
yeah.
That's where, all right. So I had 90 and I tried it out. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to see what this does. Yeah, it took it about 5 minutes for me to log it. When I hit it, it sat there and just spun until it finally kicked out. So I was like, all right, maybe I'm trying to do too many.
That's quite a few. Although I should test that many. I don't have 90 to test. I have quite a few, but
it took quite a while. And I was like, okay, I did it like on one or two different ones. And I was like, all right, I don't probably need all these to visit this cache every time, especially if I was on a power trail, that would have killed me.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
but yeah, I really do like that feature, because there are some, like my car, I think that's probably the one that you have that visits everything, Gary. Yep. So those would visit. I used to have tags on my shoes. I'm not wearing those shoes anymore, but it's sit in my garage, my closet. But yeah, I do like that feature, because that's those that want to dip their travel bugs and all that all the time. That's really great.
Yeah. And that's been a request probably since like 2.0 or something. People have been talking about that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Long time.
Apple Watch updates. So we actually did a separate show on Cashly and Apple Watch, but 7.0 brings our largest update to the Cashly Watch app. So Apple Watches, tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so it was basically everything was redesigned. All the cache listings, cache pages, the screens. It added boy, I need to look at the list here. Yeah, logs and photos and attributes and waypoints, all those things can now be seen. You couldn't before. It changes the interface when you're viewing a cache a little bit better, so you can see a log button. Previously, you had to like hard press on your watch, which isn't even a thing anymore on some of the newer watches. But now if you want to navigate, you just tap the little ... button, and that shows some extra options like navigate, or use the compass, and we just really kind of rethought the whole experience on the watch and kind of made it basically a full featured app where you could, basically see everything right there on your watch. So yeah, favorite points. Oh yeah, you could access online lists. Previously it was just offline lists. Now you can browse your online lists. And you can save caches right on your watch. If you want to go completely without your phone, you can do that, and you can navigate. So really it's like a mini Cachely right on your watch.
Yeah, cool. It's really cool. I usually use my watch. I'll hand my phone to one of the kids when I'm out caching and let them run off with it, and I track them with my watch. Oh, no, hey, you need to go this way.
Yeah,
good idea.
That's funny. Yeah, I would think maybe you have the support for corrected coordinates. I would think that there's a possibility that you might have it on your phone, and so you would, you may be like, well, I got close, I jumped out of the car, phone's still in the car, but I got my phone, I got my Apple Watch.
Yeah.
So and it's got corrected coordinates on it, so that's where I'm headed. I'm headed to a final. That's kind of what I always kind of thought of as a typical use for it. But now it's got all kinds of uses, so that's really pretty amazing.
The other part, and I don't know if we're getting to this part a little bit here in a little bit, but the proximity as I'm getting close to it. I like that part of it too, because I may once.
Oh, your phone.
With the phone, yeah, my watch will actually help. You're 20 feet away. Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah.
Then where I need to put everything away anyways and look, and even if it's in my pocket. I like that part of it, of the app itself too.
Yeah, the proximity alert, that's been one of my favorite features, integration with the watch as well, because it's so nice. Because I tested it while bike riding, and so that was always nice for it to alert me on my watch instead of like trying to hold my phone as I'm riding my bike.
That's true. That's great. That's a great way to that's perfect.
Yeah.
So we'll switch gears a little bit. We're talking about help. We'll talk a little bit about help and support. New in-app help and website. Brand new in-app help system provides quick and easy access to Cachely support articles as well as a companion help website.
Yeah. So previously we had a kind of a wiki that was needing to be updated, and it didn't have a mobile friendly layout, which really annoys me because the entire app is for iPhone.
Right.
But it was difficult to update, and it was just a web page. And now when I add articles, you can basically just see them in a native interface and do searching and browsing for different help topics. It's continuing to evolve. There's more articles that need to be written as questions come up, or subjects that I haven't written about. Like one thing that's missing is different the map pins. There's things like a check mark. There's the triangle. There's a clock icon for lonely cache. Some of those kind of things, I haven't documented those on the new help system, but those kind of things are still coming. So it's about 90% done, and there's a few things that are still missing. But overall, it's a much better experience for people to have questions, and they can just search right in the app for that. So, and as well as the website, there's help.cachely.com, and it has the same articles. So
sure. Yeah, I like it, and it's right there. So if you go into, go to the regular more page, and you go down at the bottom, and there's the help and support.
Yes,
right there.
Yep, and there's all those articles, and if you can't find what you're looking for, there is always the contact support option in that same dialogue.
Yeah, so if you go in there to the help and support, at the bottom you've got the email support and the forums. So that's awesome. But I'm also going to point out that
you're not in dark mode. But
I'm in dark mode. It's not dark enough outside yet.
No, you set it on your phone.
Oh, I do.
Well, you might have
You,
it
you can have it
automatic.
different ways. Yeah, you can have it
Yeah.
I
automatic.
set it to automatic.
That's okay.
I,
So
I like it.
Mine goes
but
to auto.
I'm just a dark person. Look, I mean, wearing black and
Maybe that's it.
And another thing is that the help has a translate option on it. So it's currently only in English, but there is a translate option.
Cool.
There's a little ... menu on the top, and you can use Google Translate to translate those articles.
No, that's really cool. That's great.
I also want to point out, yes, I am, but I'm an auto. So for some reason, I'm still in, even though it's starting to get dark outside. But I also want to point out something real quick, and that is the because Nick's going to mention it, but I can mention it. That's our show.
Tip the developer.
Tip the developer. So as we've mentioned before, that Cashly is a purchase one time, and you get all this.
Yep.
So really, in my opinion, you should go in to. Oh, I think it just flipped. Now I'm in. Is to you can
Now you're
do
dark
it-
mode.
Okay, so, yeah, now you're in dark mode.
I'm in dark mode. I think just now. Yeah, it just flipped. Anyway, so I'm going to give right now.
Ask and I shall receive.
I'm tipping the developer as we speak.
Very kind. Thank you.
I got the double click on for got my face ID. All it's now, but anyway, so.
And another way that you can help Cashly out is become a patron.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Tell people a little bit about you do have a patron, is it Patreon? Do you use Patreon?
It's Patreon. Yep.
Okay, cool.
And yeah, I don't advertise as much as I should, but there's I think it's patreon.com/Cashly. And there's a couple different levels, and yeah, just having patrons help support the development of Cashly, and continue to make it no paid updates. So that's the thing I try to do is always just keep it the $4.99 price and not have to charge for any updates, because I think that's the kind of pricing scheme that I personally like, and
We appreciate
hate it
that.
when there's a new version that comes out and they make people buy it again. So
Yeah.
that's what it's trying to support.
Pizza Ninja. 3 gallons of coffee. That's a lot. I don't know if that's
a
really
lot of coffee.
I do drink a lot of coffee. But
Coffee.
3 gallons. 3 gallons is a little much.
maybe much.
At least in one day.
We're probably going to
Yes.
talk about this later, possibly, because I didn't really, but I do notice that, there you go. Somebody mentioned this, and I know this came up. I actually saw this online as well, but one of our, someone in our chat Ronald mentioned about keep pushing Apple for CarPlay. Is that, what's the kind of the story behind that feature?
I would love to develop for CarPlay, but you have to submit an application to them, not like an app, but an application. And basically, if you don't hear anything back from them, you're not approved. So I've done that twice so far, and explained what Cashly is and how it could be used, and it would be a navigation type app. And so far, we haven't got approved. So.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm happy to submit the application again and see if it's possible. But yeah, so far you can't even develop it on your computer like on like I currently do without their special kind of like files that unlock the development of CarPlay. Wow. So, I mean, there is integration if you have a car with CarPlay. In Cashly, if you're navigating to a cache and you tap the button on the top right for the navigation options, if you use Waze or Google Maps or Apple Maps, that will then open on your car, in the native interface of those mapping. But you won't see all the caches. You'll just see your target cache you're going to. So hopefully in the future.
And I do like when you do that when you, like if you're using Apple Maps, it actually tells you the cache name as you're pulling up to it. That's really cool.
Yeah.
I use both Waze and Apple Maps most of the time, and I don't remember if it does it as well for Waze or if it's just Apple Maps.
Google Maps and Apple Maps do it. I don't think Waze does.
Okay.
Right.
And I don't know. Maybe there's a way that I can be doing it, but it currently doesn't.
Okay.
So,
and that's I generally use Apple Maps when I'm doing it.
Yeah.
So
that's another thing I love, and the list is long and endless for me for Cashly. But one of the things I love is that I can pick what navigation I want to use if I have it loaded on my phone.
Mhm.
Yeah.
which is nice because I find that when I'm just driving to and from somewhere, I like using Waze.
Yeah.
But for caching and using Cashly, if I'm going to a geocache, I like, kind of like Derek says, I like using Apple for that.
Yeah.
Reason, I don't know, and maybe maybe it's just my experience, but I have noticed that Waze tends to always put me on the back side of a cemetery. It's like, because it doesn't understand. It just seems like it's like, I'm going to take you to that spot. I don't care what happens. And it's like, well, that's not necessarily how I get to that spot.
Yeah.
I got to go through gates and stuff to get to that spot. And I just found that for some reason, Waze is more brute force, kind of get you to the spot versus.
Yeah. Well, I've had Apple Maps one time. I was going to a hotel, and this is kind of a funny story. It had me stop in the middle of the road and said, "Okay, walk the rest of the way." I'm like, "What? What did it just tell me?" It's like,
walk.
It's right there. I just got to pull in the
Yeah.
driveway.
That's funny.
Jeff says I still use Google for drive navigation, and Google has really improved.
Yeah,
that's for another show.
Yeah.
But I know that Google has far improved itself. But again, I like the fact that you can pick and choose whichever you have load on your phone. Which
it's preferences. It's what do you like best, and that's what I love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to get into a lot of additional features, and again, like you said, Nick, 7.0 is like loaded for bear for additional featers.
Yeah,
too many features.
Just additional features.
Get into a few. Yeah, there's a ton. All right, well, here we go. Let's start. Adventure Lab, save in offline lists.
Yeah. Previously, it was just in the live tab. You couldn't save them. And that was kind of it was a limitation of I was waiting for 7.0 to add it. So, so now you can save them. You still have to use the Adventure Labs app, unless you have them in a GPX file, which I think a lot of users know how to do that. Then you can just, view more stuff in Cashly. But yeah, normally if you have browsed on the map and you found them there and you save them, then you'll have to flip over to the Adventure Labs app.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Which that's the same way that you have to do it with the geocaching app anyways.
With the geocaching app too, exactly.
Yep.
That's not a limitation of Cashly, it's a limitation of the API. We always have to remember that.
Yeah. And I think that's the way they want it. It's also something they've engineered that way.
Sure. Yeah. Which is fine. Archived caches should not be allowed to show cache radius.
Yeah, that was another one from my beta testers suggesting that there's no need because they are archived. So we don't need to show radius. If somebody's wanting to hide one in that area, there shouldn't be a radius.
Yes.
Yeah.
But speaking of radius, cache radius, physical waypoints should show radius.
Yep.
Cool.
Yep. So that's a new little feature.
Love it. That's awesome. Cache waypoints. Icon circles should use colors to differentiate types.
Yeah. This is getting really into the small nitty gritty of like the user interface design.
It is, which I love.
Yeah. Yep. Just trying to make it easier for users to see things and make the design better.
I like that. Drop pin, show Google Street View option if available.
Yes.
Love it. Yeah, I use drop pins periodically. I don't know, Derek, if you do this more. What I find is if I'm going around town and I see a spot and I go, ooh, you know what?
I've done it like that.
I think I can put a cache there, but I want to make a note of it. So when I get home, I can check it. And so I'll drop a pin on my phone.
Right.
And then I know, and then when I get home, I can look at my phone. I can tell where I dropped the pin, and I can check.
Or what I do is I'll drop a pin, and then I'll contact if I'm seeing what's in the area. If I see a lot of mysteries or puzzle caches or what, I'll send my reviewer a note and say, "Hey, this location right here. Am I clear from any of these mysteries? I haven't solved them, but just let me know. Before I even go down the whole path of trying to put it here?
Yeah.
Am I in the right place? Can I do this?" So once again, that's a real good way of. I mean, a lot of times the reviewers you'll be able to do that. Say, hey,
Yeah.
this area I want to put a cache here. Am I clear? So
Yeah.
That's perfect.
And another thing that was added in 7.0 with drop pins is you can see the elevation. So if you drop a
I didn't know
pin,
that.
it'll query an elevation database, and then you can see what the elevation is at your drop pin.
Nice.
That's cool.
Yeah, which is a user request from a long time ago. And you can see that now on the additional info on caches as well, the elevation.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because that for those that are doing challenges, sometimes there's challenges you got to find a cache at a certain elevation, and
Yeah.
Mhm.
so that'll help others on that too. That's great.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah, man, that's you just blew my brain there for a second. I mean, that's okay. I can't get distracted. All right. Gotta keep
Squirrel.
going. Squirrel. I gotta keep going forward. That's awesome. I
Yep.
gotta, elevation, making a note. I'll do some checking on that because that is slick. You can edit your trackable logs now.
Yeah. Previously it was just cache logs, and now you can edit both types.
Edit both types. Perfect.
Fun,
That's really
fun
great.
for the people who are really into trackables.
Yes, that is awesome. You can a couple different things about import. Several things about import GPX. GSAC county field imported.
Yes, that was just a missing field that we didn't previously import. And if you have that in your GSAC database, that will now come in.
Nice.
Exactly.
Option to upload corrected coordinates and personal notes to geocaching.com.
Yeah. So this, I think the use case for this was like if you're in an event and somebody has a GPX file with a bunch of corrected coordinates, you can import that into Cashly, and then you can actually make the updates through the API for each one of those caches.
Oh, nice.
So I think
There's a
for
question.
sharing.
There's
Yeah. Jump
Just-
back one.
okay.
Yeah.
So Jeff is asking, and I thought you said that this is in there, but can we get the elevation added to the cache details view?
it's currently on additional info, so you have to scroll down and then tap that.
Okay.
So, but I mean, it's possible. It's possible to add on the details view. So,
Oh, yeah, there it is. It's under. So it's there. It's right. It's just additional info. You click on
Yeah,
it
you just-
and you get. Yeah,
yep.
which is nice. Additional info, I think, has really been expanded.
There's a lot of stuff in there.
You've really expanded that one, which I love. But you can immediately see a lot of information: users found date, user DNF date. I mean, the county, the elevation.
Yeah.
I mean, it's there. There it is. Yeah, Derek's showing it right now. Look at all those. That's a lot of information.
Different coordinate types like UTM and different
Yeah.
stuff that people don't usually use.
Yeah, exactly. Everything's right there. That is nice.
So
Additional
hope that
info.
answered your question, Jeff.
Cool. Okay. Yeah. So a lot of imports for GPX. We've got option to upload corrected coordinates. Did that one. Option to upload posted coordinates, even if the GPX is missing corrected coordinates.
Yeah. So sometimes there's GPX files that people have created, and they don't have the special tags that GSAC creates that lets lets Cashly know that there's a corrected coordinate
Okay.
along with the original coordinate in the file.
Okay.
And like I think it's if you export from geocache.com, they don't really let you know that the coordinates are corrected.
Oh.
So if you use that option, you can actually just assume that the coordinates that were supplied are the corrected coordinates.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So then we're switching gears a little bit. We're gonna go into some import settings. Lock found status to prevent overriding of found status.
Yeah, some of these sound a little vague, but again, that's a GPX import. So if
Oh, it is okay.
yeah, so if somebody imported like a GPX file that has a bunch of like it's from a friend and there's found statuses in the GPX, and you have caches on your own and offline list, and you don't want them to be overwritten,
Correct.
that will prevent that.
Right. I like that. Yeah. You don't
That
want
is
that
cool.
to overwrite. Yeah. That'd be a mess.
And I'll be
Import-
honest, I don't use
Right.
GPX files very often, or if at all.
No.
Yeah,
So,
I don't
but-
either.
Some
But I
people-
love that you have that feature for
Mhm.
those that do.
Yeah, some people love that. That's I appreciate that you've spent some time getting all that in there, because I know I do have a friend that uses that a lot. So
Yeah, a lot of users do,
mhm.
especially if they use like GPSRs.
Yeah. Option to mark as found on details. Oh, this is the importing Adventure Labs option to mark as found on details screen.
Yeah, so so instead of the log cache button, it just it's mark as found, and that's again for imported Adventure Labs from a GPX file. So just trying to add extra little details for people that need them. So
Love
certain use cases.
Imported Waymark log option should allow open in Waymarkly to open Waymarkly for logging.
Yeah, so if you have the Waymarkly app that I worked on,
Yes,
and you've imported a GPX file that has waymarks, you can actually just tap that and it will pop you over to Waymarkly and load that waymark. So kind of a little integration between the two.
Yeah, he's got it. Yep, Waymarkly.
Beat you to it.
Dang, you
There you
beat me to it. Yep, but I can push the buttons too. There we go. I got a lot of
Nice.
waymarks to do.
So do I.
So what's interesting is that, a big pat on the back to you for this Waymarkly app. I've had people who have basically said that they're back, doing waymarks again because of the app, and so that's
great. That's what we want to hear.
Yeah, been tremendous. Waymarkly is really cool. Oh, Kitty Catch says,
Yeah. Oh,
we were thinking the same thing. Sorry. Yes, I've imported waymarks into Cashfly offline lists, and great that it links you straight to the app.
Yep. Yeah, you can export from Waymarkly, like in your offline lists. You can export them into Cashfly if you're wanting to just kind of only use Cashfly. You can kind of integrate it that way.
so
Right.
so we're talking about kind of bouncing back between different apps, kind of.
Yeah.
Last week we had Cache? No, yeah, it was in Puzzle Talk. Y'all had Cache Sleuth, and he's got an API. And somebody, I think Jeff was saying it would be cool to helps with puzzles and stuff like that. That would actually you could integrate Cashfly into there with that, and you can jump over there to help do the API itself, some of the solution checker, and then it comes back into Cashfly. So they have, I don't know, that's just a feature of somebody that would actually be kind of cool.
Yeah.
There's a lot of puzzle caches, and it's called Cache Sleuth.
Yeah, Cache Sleuth. Yeah, we love Cache Sleuth. That's we had them on the show on Puzzle Talk this week, and Cache Sleuth is a great app. But yes, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, there's always room for improvement with integration.
Live filter options uses iOS 13 card style model.
Oh, that's an exciting one. It's just how it pops open. It's what's called card style, and previously just like filled the whole screen, and there was reasons why I hadn't changed it, but finally got it changed in 7.0.
Cool.
So
let's spend another hour on. No, I'm kidding.
yeah, you can look at the bold ones. I think the bold ones are the ones that I kind of
but still
they were the exciting ones, the bold ones.
One more before we'll get to another bold one. Allow cache placed and publish date to be 6 months in future. Live filter.
Yeah, so I think it was the API only lets you do 6 months in the future, and I think previously the little picker that iOS shows, you could just go to like the future, like 2050 or something, and it would just throw you an API error. So now we just prevent that from happening by only doing 6 months in the future in Cashfly.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right. So now we're going into a little bit of the live map search history.
Yeah.
So very cool. Live. You can another long press filter button to show available filter types.
Yes, that was the one I mentioned where you can, if you've created some filters, you can just long press either on the filter button or on the little green label. And then real quick back to the search history.
Yeah.
So that's actually like the search bar. So there's been, people will search for GC codes, they'll search for a city, they'll search with coordinates, and then when they do a second search, they've lost the previous search. So now if you tap the little search history button on the right side, you can see what you previously searched for. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Oh yeah.
So it's just a helpful, it's only the things you've searched for, your exact text. It's not it's not filling in the cache name if you've done a GC code. It's not doing anything like that. It's just the text you've searched for. It's the history of that.
That's cool.
But very nice because in fact, that you mentioned is something that I noticed in Facebook with the Cashflow user group, or Cashflow users on Facebook, and they mentioned that they really liked that fact because it was always disappearing, and they'd have to type in the same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
And so I love that. Team Dump's got to leave for a moment, but he says, if not mentioned, launching message center within Cashly is a worthwhile topic. Okay. We will mention that. Yeah, that's coming up because that was the one that you've probably gotten 1,000 people asking you about that, Nick. Remember?
Yeah, it would pop over to iOS Safari, and so you would leave Cashly, which was annoying to people. So now there's an integrated Safari, and it pops open within Cashly, and you can, use the message center from right there.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is good that they allow that.
It's the best we can do. That's the most they allow. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's nice that you're able to do that now, at least. So that's good.
Yeah.
Put that part in there. Log message photos, allow adding photos from personal notes or iCloud.
Yeah. So if you're using that feature, I think that I added in 6.1 was where you can save images to your personal notes. So if you've saved those, you can now browse those for adding a photo to a log message. Nice. So previously there wasn't really a way easily to do that. You had to probably save it to your camera roll, and then you could do it, or browse your camera roll to find that previous photo. But now you can just directly, there'll be an option in a little menu that pops up.
Perfect.
Show user. Which one are you doing? Logs. Show user find counts.
Yeah. What is that?
That's when you're browsing logs and there's the little user avatar on the left. Now there's right under it. It shows how many finds each user has.
Oh no! Yes.
Yeah. So just a little extra thing.
Oh, Derek, man, that is awesome. Let me tell you what.
There it is. Because look at all the DNFs, but look, they got 8 finds, 3 finds, 7 finds.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how.
First is trying to kick on their thing and go and look and see how many finds they have.
Yeah, it's right there.
So it's right there. That's awesome. I hadn't noticed that.
Yes. Well, I noticed it last week. Our little group, our little Motley caching crew went out and found a bunch of caches. And let me tell you that it may not sound for some people like a big deal, but let me tell you, that was big because there was 2 or 3 times I know of when, because I don't cache with everybody our group was a real mix.
Yeah.
I use Cashly. We got Android users. We got somebody who just refuses to use anything but the regular geocaching.com one, which is fine. Yeah. You do you, man. But the thing is that I was the first one every time because we were like, well, what? Because we had a couple caches and we're like, well, what do we know about because we were having trouble trying to find it. We're like, well, what happened with other people? And I could immediately tell them there were 2 DNFs, but they're like, found 8 caches and 6 caches. So we can really don't
trust it.
Yeah. We can kind of not trust those people. And sure enough, that was, we found it with a little further search, but it's very helpful to know what is going on. And it was so helpful because it's right there. It tells you exactly how many finds they have right there on their avatar, which that's awesome. Yeah. Very helpful. Thank you.
Yeah.
So on the logs, you can also show which log favorited cache?
Yeah. So if that user
Mhm.
favorited that cache that you're on, there'll be a little heart there.
Okay,
So you
cool.
can
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
scroll through and see who had favorited those, and as well as if you go to the logs tab and you look at your own logs, you can scroll through and see which ones you favorited.
Cool. We got a couple more long presses to talk about. Long press map layers should have option button in menu to hold additional toggle options.
Yeah. So if you long press the map layers button, there's always been the last 3 maps you've used,
Right.
which is handy. And
It
now
is.
now on the bottom there's an options button.
Oh yeah.
And that will show a couple extra things like
show
hide
me
cache
that.
radius, ignore corrected coordinates.
Oh,
Yep.
wow. That's sweet.
So it kind of toggles some things real quick, as well as there's a map layers option, and so you can go,
I'll find map layers.
So that's
Ignore correct coordinates.
yep.
Nice. Yeah,
A couple
that's
different
real
options
handy.
there
Put it right there. Yeah, that's perfect.
instead of having to go all the way back into settings.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's nice because that
Yeah.
was a pain.
Yes.
Where is it? Because there's a
Yeah.
lot of times I'll kick over to, especially if I'm out in different parks here, I'll kick over to see what the trails, see where we're trails. Okay,
Mhm.
is it off the trail? How far is it off the trail? Especially when I'm caching with kids and the mosquitoes are really bad and ticks are really bad right now.
You want to get on down the road, as it were?
Yeah, it's like, is it worth the next week of itching?
Or
Yeah.
maybe it's right on the trail and you be
Yeah,
okay.
exactly. So
Perfect. Long press on cache call out or list view item to show navigate to cache option.
Oh yeah, that's another long press. It's always been there for quite some time. If you long press in list view on a cache, or if you've tapped a pin and it shows what I call the call out. If you long press on that, there's a new option to navigate to that cache. So you can skip a screen if you don't want to look at the details and then tap the navigate option.
Oh,
You can just
right.
go right from
oh yeah, that's really cool.
just right from list view or the map view.
Yeah,
Or copy cache view, cache code, copy
Yeah,
coordinates.
there's a bunch of options in there. Yeah.
that is nice.
You can add it straight
Yeah.
to your watch list if you want to too.
Yeah, especially for list view, that's nice. Yeah, I mean that's because a lot of times if you want to, real quick on list view, you can do so many things real quick right there. That's awesome.
Yeah. Long press all the things. Yes.
Long press all. Yes. Yeah, Jeff's like, just try it from now on.
Yep.
So we talked about that. Let's see. Import GPX option to import from iCloud.
Yeah.
That's handy. Mhm.
Yeah.
Navigate to cache. Auto zoom as you get closer to ground zero.
Yeah. So that will zoom the map as you get closer to ground zero. It will kind of keep your location and the cache location on the map and will kind of zoom you in. So it's actually a feature that I think the old official app had.
Yes.
And some people really liked that. And so that is now in 7.0. And you can turn it off if you dislike it, but it's on by default.
I love it. That is awesome. So there's a lot of offline filtering that was included, which is nice. I use the offline lists a lot,
Yeah.
especially when I was doing all the Texas counties, because you just assumed you're going to be offline, and that's the beauty of that's something that Jesse and I always talk about, is the fact that you don't need, and we're not getting into this religious discussion tonight, but you don't need a GPSR. I mean, you don't need it.
Yep.
I mean, I can do everything the GPSR does.
You got to pre-plan anyways if you're using GPSR.
Yeah, you got to pre-plan, unless you're, and people go, well, what if you're out in the middle of nowhere, where it's like, wait a minute,
I can still get GPS.
did you?
I just may not be able to call anybody.
But
True.
you didn't get there. You didn't wander out into the wilderness and go, oh, I'm going to try to find a cache now.
Yeah.
I mean, you were going to go there anyway. You were going to plan to be there. You might as well just offline list and be done and have it all right there on your phone. So
Yep. And have offline maps.
yeah, and all the everything you need right there. So for offlines, you've got offline filtering, date hidden, day, has personal note images, has solution checker. All that's is on the offline filtering now.
Yep.
That's really cool.
Love it. Offline, if county loaded for cache, save that in database.
Yeah, so the counties, those are loaded from an Apple API. So if you look at additional details screen or additional information, it'll load what county you're in or what county that cache is in.
Right.
And then if you save that cache to your offline list, or if it's already in the offline list, it will save that county data. So you then, if you have it for some of them, then you can use an offline filter for counties. But we don't have a way to like bulk load counties for caches. There's not really a way to do that. So it's if you've looked at a couple of them. So it's just a small feature request from, I think, one of my beta testers.
That's cool.
Well, that's great for county cachers and those that are doing that. And so that's really good.
Yeah. Yeah. Anything, and it's this has been now for some time, but and probably a good time to mention it because I think some people don't realize that you can purchase. You can go to the website and you can purchase offline lists. That's not a way to put it.
Offline maps.
You can purchase offline maps. Yeah, that's a better way to put it.
Yeah.
So I think for some people, they don't know that it's there, maybe, and so I want to point that part out. The fact that it's to me, it's worth. It's cheap. Is it $3 for $4?
$3. Yeah. Premium
One
offline
time.
map.
Premium
One
offline
time.
maps.
One time,
Yeah.
$3. So $8. Basically, you got everything for Cashly.
Yeah. And I should advertise them more. But yeah, they're in the little paper stack menu, which is the map layers. That's where premium offline maps are.
Yep. I love it. I love so offline maps, they're all right there. And I pulled the ones recently that I wanted to look at. So
yeah.
Georgia, New Mexico, Oklahoma, Tennessee, Texas, and Utah. So and they're easy to flip between. There's no, it's quick, it's easy. It's so nice. But yeah, you've got, you got Africa, Antarctica, Asia. I mean, you pretty much have them all. I know somebody mentioned earlier about
the whole world. Yeah.
The whole world. Yeah. And there are, because somebody mentioned also, because we were talking about the Aussies earlier, there's the eight maps for Australia, or you can download all of them, right there. But if you want, you could, I know with states, and I assume this would be the same for provinces in Canada or in Australia, if you want a different, you want to focus on the information for a certain location, you get more information, you get more details than you normally would when you're looking at a state. You can look at other states without using that map, but you don't.
Yeah, it might show the borders. It might show a few details, a few towns and things like that. Yeah,
right. But it's so nice to have all the extras there.
Yeah.
Okay,
there's a question in the chat. If we
just go for
curious, from the pizza, and it says, "Will Cashly ever have the chirp functionality?" And we're talking about. I think is what Garmin.
No, Garmin.
Yeah,
Garmin.
Garmin had that.
I looked at that, and it's so rare that caches have that. And it's a specific. It's Garmin, the little chirp unit.
Yeah.
The phone doesn't have a way to communicate with that. iOS does not have that. The iPhone does not have a chip for that. So it's like kind of a closed source type thing. So
sure.
I don't think I don't think Apple would ever add that because it's very kind of obscure just for geocaching type things. So no, not currently. It's not something we're planning.
So there's several things in here too. We'll people can go take a look at it as far as some more offlines that you added. Proximity alert we talked about earlier, which is really cool. Google Maps should show routing providers. So Google Maps should show cache name and GC code for target.
Yeah, so that's what we talked about earlier, but that just got added for Google Maps because it wasn't previously working.
Cool.
Yeah.
Lots of different settings. We'll kind of talk about that a little bit tonight as we kind of get toward the end here. But in the settings, option to ignore corrected coordinates location on map used with GeoArt, which is interesting.
No, I like that because if you
Yeah.
keep your corrected coordinates on there, your art, you get all these smiley faces in these random places and it doesn't look what you wanted to. So if
Yeah.
you take off the corrected coordinates, it puts it back to the actual GeoArt itself.
Right.
Yeah, and that's one of the thing in the long press menu is to toggle that. So you can toggle it on quick, see your GeoArt, and then toggle it off if you choose to.
Yeah. Toggle it on, take your screenshot, toggle it back off.
That's right.
Exactly.
However you want to do it. Yeah, exactly. You also now have option to delete all offline lists.
Yeah, so this actually happened to one of my beta testers. He accidentally deleted.
all. Dang it.
I think he deleted all of his offline lists accidentally, and in his pocket, and I don't know how it's possible, but
Yeah.
that's okay. So now it's not possible to do without like allowing a settings option.
Okay.
So and I can see the use case for that. If a child gets on there, they could easily just tap 3 times in a certain place and delete everything.
They're all
So,
gone.
Yeah.
So let's switch back to trackables for a moment because this is interesting. I've used this. I'm not huge into trackables, but if I'm not huge into it and I've used it, I'm sure other people use it all the time, and that is the scanner.
Yeah.
The trackable scanner. So scanned trackable code should query the API for cache code it is in.
Yeah. So previously the TB scanner didn't talk to the API at all, but now if you scan a TB code, it will quickly make a request and it will get some data, including the cache that it's in, so that when you log, if you want to grab it or if you log it, that info will already be entered into the log screen. It'll have the cache code. And so previously you had to like type it in.
Right.
So now it just takes away one little step.
That's nice though.
That is nice.
Trackable additional details shows the owner username.
Yep. Just one thing that was missing before.
Nice. And trackable logs should use new book log upload API.
Yeah. So that can upload 50 at a time now, which Derek, that's why I was thinking that yours should have gone quicker than it did for doing the 90. So I'll have to try to test that. But previously it was like you would upload to the API one at a time. So the people that had like 50 and they added those to every cache, you would sit there and do like 50 API requests, which is crazy. So now it does it kind of all in one bulk request.
Right.
Okay.
Some more Waypoint items. Waypoint call out if parent cache available, show cache name and options.
Yep. So that's if you tap on if you tap on the waypoint and it pops up the little call out, it'll actually say which cache it's attached to, and also draws a line. So to kind of associate the two.
Right. Oh yeah.
It'll draw a blue line.
Yeah. That's true. It'll show a line between the two.
Yeah, which is helpful.
Especially
because with the new option of show all waypoints, I mean, there's clusters of them. You're like, I don't know which one of this is part of, and so now when you tap it, it'll say the parent name, cache name, and then it will draw the line. So
nice.
That's nice.
And then as far as the Waypoint, also it'll update it. You have updated icons for your screen.
Yeah,
so that's good.
Those beautiful Waypoint icons.
Yes. Somebody was mentioning that we were out caching, and somebody goes, "What's whoa?" I go, "Show me on your screen what you're looking at." And I guess they can do a waypoint 0 instead of a waypoint 1.
I guess
the user could do that. I mean, the
user
owner.
I think they can name them.
Yeah, I think they named it. It was waypoint 0, and it's like that's kind of weird.
That is weird.
You think it'd be because I always see a W1, W2,
W2,
because people waypoint 1, waypoint 2, whatever. Kitty Cats mentions about shows waypoints that you created too. It's a different icon, of course.
Yep. Yeah. Should be blue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
That is most of the updates.
That's it. Over to you, Derek. What do you want to do? Do you want to mention anything else tonight?
No, I'm just trying to think. I'm trying to think of other options. I'd really like, in the chat, think of options that you may want
I'm in dark
to
mode.
be on there, because I know Nick's always writing notes on, hey, what the different features that we might have.
Yeah.
Automatically.
But what I like the solving puzzles. So if something could be like a puzzle solution that can go in there versus having to jump into another puzzle solution, but it's something that would be kind of built in, like a cipher decoder or stuff like that, like using Cache Sleuth. So using maybe their API somehow. That would be really cool. I like that idea. One, it keeps you in the app longer. And I know that's always important. And I know there's a lot of things that geocaching API doesn't allow you to do, like the different, how you have to message. That's really good.
Yeah.
Now keeping it there. It'd be nice. And I know it's limited to the API, but one of the only reasons I use the other geocaching app is the official app is to see the it's the talking about the challenge that's going on right now. So you can see where you're
promotion.
right.
Promotion, whatever
the leaderboard, where you can see the leaderboard. So, and I know they
do have an API that allows us to pop up like a kind of a web view of what the current promotion is. And I haven't integrated that yet. It's something that is possible. I don't know if it would be useful to users, because I don't think it doesn't give the integration like the official app does. You know, you're not seeing near the data that you would with the official app. Yeah.
Because I know the being able to go jump into I just drew a blank on it. Project GC. Is that you added that in there, and I think I was traveling. I was texting you, hey, it'd be really nice if we could do this.
Yeah,
and so then
it was easy.
Those is really great. When I love being able to do that, because then you can just jump right over there and check your challenges or whatever you're working on.
Yeah.
So that was really cool. I'm trying to long press. Hold on, Tom is saying something here. Long press makes hidden caches illuminate when I can't find it.
Wow. Is that how it works?
I think that's a feature he wants.
I think.
So
you push the long press the button and it just starts. The beacon goes off on the cache itself.
The cache itself. Okay.
Yeah, and
that's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. If that works for a mystery,
right?
You could patent that.
Yes. That would be awesome.
I think that's like I said, I use the app all the time. The only time I use the other one is if I get a message from somebody from my promotion, and if I get a message that I'm answering from there, is I'll get notified through their app that there's a message. So
is there you're going to be 7.0 for quite a while now, I know.
Yeah, bug fix releases and things.
Because you put one out. I mean, and that's the thing I love, and I think we need to always applaud the fact that you're able to do that so quickly,
right,
Nick. That's so helpful, man. Just the fact that
it's not a team; it's you.
Yeah, people don't.
There is a team of beta testers, so I will give them a shout out for
awesome.
finding lots and lots of bugs. But as far as fixing the bugs, it's just me.
Yeah,
I like
which is amazing
that you have. I don't know if they're all in there, but you do have a list of the beta testers in there.
Yes.
So focus.
Thank you.
Yeah, it should be past and present, but I think everybody should be in there.
Cool. Yes, it's so important to have these beta testers, and they do a tremendous job.
Thanks to all the beta testers.
Yeah, they've found thousands of bugs over the years, I'm sure.
Sure. Yeah. And I think that
the Lonely Cache icon feature is really good. That's another one that's in there.
Yes.
Yeah.
I use that when they're at the beginning, when there's of COVID, when they're saying, hey, don't find a cat, don't touch anything. Was it 7 days is what they said? That
something like that.
The virus would live on, whatever. I set it down to like 8 days. So I wouldn't find a cache that hadn't been found in 8 days. So even just doing that, and I can just go find all the ones that haven't been found recently, was just kind of a precaution that we used.
That's a good idea.
So
it's only fair Nick fixes an issue he created.
That's fair. That is fair.
Dang.
That is fair.
And of course, I recognize the name. That's one of your beta testers. So.
That's one of the right. I guess they can be rough on him. But have you noticed?
It's their job to find it.
Yeah.
Yep.
I've noticed that there's been good discussion, I think, for the most part on Facebook, as far as in the Cashflow users group.
Yeah.
I think for the most part it's constructive. I've been pretty happy about going to that group and seeing, and a lot of people, or I think early on too, I think, Nick, I don't know if it's been helpful, but there were a couple items that you fixed that I think were early. They were early on issues that you found and were able to correct
In 7.0.
Yeah.
Yep.
The users found or the beta testers found. So
Yeah, and there's still a couple that I'm fixing. I'll release the 7.0.3 pretty soon here.
I'm on 702, which is always nice to see. You can always tell immediately what you're on, but yeah. Well, awesome. I guess, Derek, do you have any, final thoughts before we wrap up tonight?
No, I think we covered pretty much everything in the update. So
we covered it.
Yeah.
And I love that you, thank you, Nick, so much for coming on. I know we had to find a time to do it. And I'm so thankful that you're there to help and to put out such an incredible app.
Thank you.
It's been tremendous for us that use it, all the time. All the people that the cache with it, I think, it's just been wonderful to be able to have it and to be able to utilize it. And it really does it really lets you focus on caching. I mean, it really does. And then we kind of forget that sometimes, the fact that if you have a great app that's there and it's useful and it does everything to me, it does everything I ever want to do. Yeah. And I can just focus on that. And typically I'm the one many times that's doing the driving, and I do a lot of the planning for our little group. And so, boom, I can go, I use Cache Tour to plan, but then I can go from Cache Tour directly to Cachely, and I go boom, boom, boom. I can just start heading there, immediately. So again, thanks again. And, we'll talk down the road. We hope, we'll get to see you soon. But if not, again, thanks so much. And Derek, I guess you can kind of go ahead and take us out.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
May your finds be many and your DNFs be few. May the terrain and difficulty both be less than 2. And whatever it is you're looking for, may it find its way to you. And may we all meet again.
Folks, we hope you've enjoyed the show tonight. Please email us your comment at geocachetalk@gmail.com. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. The show can be found on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Radio Public, or Spotify, as well as at the Geocache Talk website. Don't forget to click that subscribe button below and ring that bell notification so that you can see and hear the show on a weekly basis. And tell your friends about the show. Get them involved with us in the chat room. And until next week, don't just talk about geocaching, go geocaching.